Hello and welcome everyone to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the second game of this best of 3 series, Night Elf versus Undead, here on the map Twisted Meadows. And things did not go so well for our Night Elf player in the bottom left. Spawning in as the pink Night Elf, we have XiXi. In the top right, we have, who is currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series, we have WFZ spawning in as the blue undead. And game 1 was pretty much what would, well, I was gonna say what you would expect, but let's just put some context into that. It was basically what you would expect when you would go Dark Ranger first. I might seem biased on that kind of opening and I guess hero strategy, but I just really don't see the fruits of that labor, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have seen it work sometimes, but the chances, not the chances, just the, how should I say it, compared to just other strategies that work just as well, or maybe even better, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put it into words in my tiny little mind, but either way, Twisted Meadows, we are actually going to have a Warden coming out, which is, I guess, borderline viable with the Warden, because Twisted Meadows is actually a big map. If you don't know, it is probably one of the biggest maps in the current tournament, in the current, I guess, regular map pool. So Warden not really that great in bigger maps because, well, I'm trying to argue with it in my mind here. Although the Warden does have exceptional mobility, just keeping track of your opponent, I guess that's pretty much it. Just keeping track of your opponent is just significantly harder. Oop, Ghoul's able to get off that Wisp kill right there, and I think the Death Knight has gained that experience, 25 points right there. Pretty much every worker is level 1, and you know, nothing really else to say about that. We do have level 1 Shadow Strike for XiXi, although it would be really stupid for WFZ to lose his DK to a Warden of all people, like right now, especially in this one-on-one scenario right now, which the Death Knight is pretty much has the possibility of running away, is going to fight that Warden. Yeah. I don't know what XiXi's doing right now. He is rooting his archer and actually leaving alone those null wardens. He is going to reset the aggro on that Warden, but he did not finish off that camp, I guess. Who knows? There we go with Detonate taking out that skeletal minion. It will force one Wisp to actually be taken out of the action. There we go with the gold mine swap right there with those Wisps. Pretty much one of the benefactors of actually being Night Elf. But then again, that's also the same with the Acolyte. If you're versing a melee hero, and I guess the best example would be the Mountain King, you can just, I guess, move your guy all the way to the other side of the gold mine, and Mountain King will follow, and pretty much just click on the gold mine, and then he'll just go back to his respective place. There we go with the Shadow Strike right there, taking out one of the many low hit point ghouls for WFZ, but he does have many ghouls. Level 2 is on that Warden. Not sure if she would take Blink in this situation, or if she would take the Fan of Knives for that additional combo. Nerubian Tower will be finished, and I would imagine Blink just to be taken, because this would be extremely difficult if she did not. She just used her TP scroll, and not scroll, but TP staff, and there we go with the Blink. Although it is rather expensive in terms of mana at level 1. At level 3, that's pretty much like one of the best mobility abilities ever. Probably better than Windwalk, I guess. Okay, we have the Ancient of War creeping out at this mercenary camp. The Warden has joined in on the creeping. Meanwhile, the Death Knight, who I guess also has a sense of purpose. It looks like he is going to go for a big attack on XiXi's base right now, and that I guess would be pretty smart, because generally Night Elf players at this time of, I guess, the battle wouldn't have that many archers and wouldn't have that much in defending his main base, because, well, if you're going like XiXi, you just place down your Hunter's Hole, so you can't have any Ancient Protectors. You would most likely have a couple of Ancient of Wars if you were going Sentinels, which XiXi was not. And yeah, this is not going to be rather, I guess, merciful for XiXi, but it does look like WFZ is holding off on that attack. Warden is very close to level 3, would definitely get it if she cleared out that camp. Yep, there we go. Shadow Priest and Berserker has been hired from the mercenary camp. Generally, a couple of answers to how you would solve the weak early game of the Night Elf. Basically just hire up mercenaries, because you would, I guess, want to be sitting on quite a bit of gold. Double Ancient of Lords has been dropped right over here, so we might just be going the same strategy over and over again. The Mass Dryads, and possibly just adding a couple of bears in to deal with the Mass Ghouls and the A-bombs. There we go, the blink right there, hopefully to take down a couple of Acolytes. If she managed to take down at least 2 Acolytes, or maybe 3, it might force WFZ to cancel that Black Citadel tick right there. So the Shadow Strike will be casted on the Acolyte. This would be rather difficult for WFZ, although I don't think it would force a cancel on the Black Citadel, just because the Black Citadel is nearly completed. However, WFZ will be mining off only 2 Acolytes for a very long time. Generally one of the most annoying things to happen when you're versing a Warden or maybe a Mountain King at this time, because this is when you are making that big jump, big and long jump to tier 3. However, Black Citadel has been completed. You can see the difference in gold, I guess. Only 300, but that is, I guess, a building's worth of difference right there. It also does mean XiXi is going to run out of gold rather quick, rather more earlier than his opponent. Either way, Lich is out, and I would assume he would be picking up that Orb of Corruption very soon. However, since WFZ was only mining off a couple of Acolytes, he cannot afford to purchase that orb just quite yet. Orbs of anything is rather expensive, and the Shadow Strike on the Death Knight will force him to actually use that TP scroll. Crypt Fiend has been Shadow Striked right there. If no Death Scroll comes up, he will lose his life, and he barely managed to live, because he was 1 health off from 30. If that Obscene Statue was a little quicker on his casting, he would have saved that Crypt Fiend. So I think this is the final Ancient of Lore on this map. I think that mistakenly stole a Troll Trapper, but nevertheless, the Tome Trapper right here and the Warlord will die very soon. Tome of Experience has also been dropped, so that was, I guess, very much worth just losing 1 Trapper kill. Picked up the Illyria's Flute of Accuracy, but questionably sold it. I mean, the Warden is gonna go Mass Dryads with a couple of bears to support, so why would she sell that extra bit of damage? I guess you could argue that extra 10% damage is not really that, I guess, that weighty compared to the instantaneous 200 gold that you would get from selling it. But still, XiXi does look like he's gonna go into Dryads, but apparently that's not going to be the case. He's going to go more into bears, which is rather odd to go because destroyers will completely shred those guys. And the number of Dryads don't really justify starting to transition into bears anymore. And I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of ghouls. They are definitely frenzy ghouls right now. On top of that unholy roar, they are very, very fast. So we do have master bears. However, yikes, this one's gonna get bursted so quickly despite the rejuvenate on him. Those ghouls are rather hyper right now. I wonder which drugs they were on. But I mean, we have yet to have an army versus an army just quite yet. We have the roar for XiXi's army. The Dryads really need to go back. And here we go with the Panda, who is at level 2, but the destroyers are in the air. We will have the drunken fire on those ghouls right now. They will miss quite a bit, but that debuff won't last for very long. This seems rather difficult for XiXi to actually overcome, and the bears are quickly dying themselves. The Death Knight apparently was assassinated by the Warden, and it looks like we will be witnessing the Lich's own assassination as well. If only Fan of Knives was trained up. We might have the Fan of Knives coming in. He might have taken 1 point into it, but it does not look like he will be able to, as the Warden has pretty much no mana to actually compensate for that. So yeah, the Panda is also, I guess, rather lively as well. He doesn't have enough mana though for any of his abilities, but he is pretty much high in health. You can see those ghouls rather very quick on their toes and will be immediately denied right over there. The blink will, I guess, save that Warden from that red creep camp. So it was a surprising turnaround for XiXi. I would have expected WFZ to play very strong in that fight, but apparently the Warden was so fixated on the heroes that it pretty much just eventually crumbled for WFZ. I mean, he had plenty of units. He managed to take down the bears very quickly, but I guess the level 5 Warden is just way too strong. Once he gets to level 6, it will be even crazier because the Avatar Vengeance would be a huge, huge asset for the Warden right now. Tome of Retraining apparently was used. I thought that was a potion of invisibility, but why would he play so? I guess why would he play so rather clumsy and get that invisibility out so soon? Either way, we do have a huge surround on this Warden. Unfortunately, the Acolytes will not be able to mine gold for quite some time because of that Warden, I guess, presence. They would go with invulnerability potion right now. However, I don't think the Warden is actually going to risk that for any longer and is going to retreat. WFZ is actually going to GG out of this, which was rather out of the blue. But yeah, mainly it was probably because of his economic damage that has been dealt to him. Either way, that is going to be game 2. I'll see you guys in game 3.